Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Expanded Universe, now read by Disney, or Lucasfilm, whichever way you slice it. Legends. This is a weird angle, I apologize. Today's video is going to be very short and sweet. I just have a couple Tales comics, as Matt Wilkins would put it, and some short bits, because I do it absolutely anally, chronologically, but that's just me. Starting off, what you would read after the Dynasty of Evil by Drew Karpyshyn would be in Tales number 16, the short story titled Heart of Darkness. It's a very short little comic thing because it's in the Tales series. It takes place 700 years before the Battle of Yavin. We get to see a Yoda-like species, but not Yoda, and he's just gone by the prequels, so maybe something happened to him in between it. I at first thought the character we were following was Yoda, but I don't know if that's the case because he had a different name, so I don't think so. I think it was just a different guy. However, he crash lands. They're following this Dark Jedi, not a Sith Lord, because of course the Sith Lords are in hiding for 1,000 years, so they can't really meet a Sith Lord because that would be contradictory. But we do have a couple Dark Jedi who appear. And he chases them down to what seems to be the planet Dagobah, and they have a fight, and he dies in the cave. His darkness seems to seep into a cave, and the short story ends with, the guy with the Yoda-looking guy leaving, which leads me to believe, is this short story trying to imply that the darkness surrounding this Dark Jedi is what created the evil in the dark side powers emanating within the Dagobah cave? I don't know, but that's where it ends. It was okay. I've heard a lot of bad things about Tales. The art was fairly decent for this one, and it was not a horrible read. It's just really short, not much to it. It's okay. You can definitely live without it. You're missing nothing if you skip it. And then we get to one that is actually bleh, which is, after that, you have Apprentice. Apprentice. I think that's what it's titled. I think that's either in Star Wars Tales 15, if I'm remembering correctly. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't read it. It's awful. It is an awful, stupid. The art's awful. The stupid story's too short to matter, and you have characters so you'll never see again, and it's stupid. You have a dark Jedi master and a dark Jedi apprentice, but they're not Sith. They're just dark beings. And this girl's like, yo, I want to join up with you, and he's like, nah, brah, you're stupid. And then she pushes the apprentice off of a building, and she's like, all right, what are you waiting for? And then it just ends. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Don't read it. It's a waste of your time. It's so stupid. It's retarded. I'm sorry if that offends anyone. It's stupid. It's so stupid. Ignore it. It's not worth your time. Anyway, and now, because I'm anal about chronology, you don't have to do this. You can just wait till I talk about it again during the Clone Wars era and just read it as a whole. But because I'm me, I read the first part of the Legacy of the Jedi young adult book by Jude Watson, where it focused on Count Dooku as a 13-year-old boy. And that's the last thing I read here. We have Dooku and DeLorean, two best friends, buds since they were younglings. And they find out about this Sith holocron thing. Lorian steals it, blames it on Dooku. Dooku gets so pissed and feels betrayed by that, and they end up having this Padawan exercise. They have to go to the market in Coruscant and get this fruit and come back with it first. And everyone else kind of loses because of their strategies. Because even back then, Dooku's really intelligent and really smart with his strategies and stuff. But his anger at his friend makes him harm his friend. He doesn't kill him or anything, but he does injure him. He gives him big bruise. like a practice lightsaber, not meant to cause harm, just meant to, practice with. And he gets scolded for it, but he's still, a Jedi at this point in time. And it's not much, but seeing as we don't have anything on Dooku very much as a young lad, I thought this was very interesting because, this time period, it's technically peaceful, so there's not much to really talk about, and yet they still found ways to make this era interesting just because we focused on Dooku. Dooku is one of those characters who has such charisma in the movies, I felt like, but we don't get a lot with him. And that's what the expanded universe is for, expands upon the character. And since we don't get much of his childhood, I very much appreciated the fact that we got to have a bit of this with him. Also, fascinating enough, I didn't know this until now, that Sidious Palpatine is actually 10 years younger than Dooku. Dooku's older and yet becomes the apprentice to Lord Sidious. Not that, of course it doesn't matter your age, experience can trump age, but, I just find it kind of interesting because I didn't even realize that. Dooku is 13 in the story, in the first part, which means that Sidious is around 3 years old at that point. I just found that interesting. And then the last thing you would read chronologically, I'm not gonna keep putting intervals of Darth Plagueis in between the other stuff I'll review for you guys, but just know that I am personally going through it chronologically, so I'm gonna read whatever chapters I need to of Darth Plagueis, then move over to something else, then come back. That's what I'll be doing, but I'm not gonna force you guys to do that through my videos, so I'll just talk about it probably a second time once I finished it completely. But the last thing is the short story, The Tenebrous Way by Matthew Stover. This is basically from Tenebrous' perspective, but it's something that happens in basically the very first chapter of the Darth Plagueis novel, where Darth Plagueis gets rid of Tenebrous. And I don't want to really spoil it. It's a short story, but it is expertly done. I really enjoyed it. If you've ever, I think it was a direct reference. I don't know if it was, but there's a story called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. There's also a game about it, a point and click adventure, but it reminded me a lot of that. And it doesn't, do you need this to understand Darth Plagueis or anything? No, but it was a very interesting and fun little read there. So that's where you would be chronologically. Up next, I think, will be the second portion of the Legacy of the Jedi, which focuses on Dooku and Qui-Gon, and then the comic book series focusing on Qui-Gon and Xanatos. So until then, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.